The auditorium lights flickered like dying stars as Principal Harlan's voice boomed over the microphone. His face twisted in righteous fury. This so-called award is a disgrace to our school's values. It's nothing but liberal propaganda. In one swift, savage motion, he ripped the certificate in half, the paper tearing like flesh under a blade, and hurled the pieces into the air where they fluttered down like confetti from hell. Dylan Harper stood frozen on stage, the echo of applause turning to gasps, his heart shattering louder than the rip of that single sheet that had meant everything to him. 24 hours earlier, Dylan had been buzzing with a quiet joy he hadn't felt since his first day teaching English at Willow Creek High in suburban Ohio. The National Education Association's Teacher of the Year Award had arrived via certified mail, its gold-embossed seal gleaming under the fluorescent kitchen light of his modest apartment. He'd framed it mentally 100 times, imagining the pride in his mother's eyes over FaceTime, the way his students might finally see him not just as the gay teacher, but as someone who mattered. At 28, Dylan had poured his soul into those kids, especially the ones like him, the quiet boys who lingered after class, asking about books with heroes who didn't fit the mold. "You made me feel seen," one had whispered last week, clutching a worn copy of Giovanni's Room. Now, that fragile bridge he'd built was crumbling before it even stood. The assembly was meant to celebrate the end of the school year, a road event in the gymnasium's turnstages of Middle America. Banners sagged from the rafters, spelling out Willow Creek Pride, Academic Excellence, in faded red, white, and blue. Dylan had been slotted last, a footnote after the quarterback's MVP speech and the cheer squad's routine. He'd rehearsed his acceptance in the mirror that morning. Humble, heartfelt, a nod to the power of stories in healing hidden wounds. But as he approached the podium, envelope in hand, Principal Harlan, a bull of a man with a crew cut and a cross pinned to his lapel, snatched it from him mid-stride. The crowd, 500 students, faculty, and parents, fell into a stunned hush. Dylan's cheeks burned, not from embarrassment, but from the raw, animal instinct to fight or flee. Harlan unfolded the letter with deliberate slowness, his lips curling as he read aloud in a mocking baritone. For exemplary dedication to fostering inclusive environments and empowering marginalized voices in literature. He paused, eyes narrowing on Dylan like a hawk spotting prey. Marginalized? You mean promoting that lifestyle? In our school? Under my watch? Whispers rippled through the rows like wind through cornfields. A girl in the front row, one of Dylan's poetry prodigies, covered her mouth. The quarterback shifted uncomfortably, his Letterman jacket suddenly too tight. Dylan reached out, voice steady despite the tremor in his knees. "Principal, please. This is about the students, not politics." But Harlan was already tearing, the sound amplified by the speakers, each rip a verdict on Dylan's worth. The pieces rained down, one landing at Dylan's feet like a severed wing. He knelt to pick it up, fingers brushing the jagged edge, and in that moment, the world narrowed to the sting of ink on pulp. His vision blurred, not from tears, but from the clarity of betrayal. This wasn't just paper. It was his armor, forged from years of swallowing slurs in locker rooms, of coming out to his conservative family only to hear "love the sinner, hate the sin" echoed back. And now, in front of everyone, it was trash. As the bell rang, dismissing the chaos, Dylan slipped out a side door into the muggy June afternoon. The Ohio sun beat down on the parking lot, turning the asphalt into a black mirror of his unraveling. He leaned against his beat-up Honda, breaths coming in sharp bursts, and pulled out his phone. No messages from Mom yet. She'd be at her shift at the diner, oblivious. But there, buried in notifications, was an email from the NEA. "Congratulations. Your story has inspired us. We've shared it with key advocates. Expect outreach soon." He laughed, a hollow bark that echoed off the chain-link fence. Outreach? What good was that now? The damage was done, viral by morning, no doubt, some parent's smartphone capturing the whole ugly spectacle. Willow Creek wasn't San Francisco. It was a town where "fag" was still graffiti on bathroom stalls. where the local paper ran op-eds on traditional values like they were gospel. Dylan slid into the driver's seat, the leather hot against his back, and drove home with the radio off, the silence louder than any condemnation. That night, curled on his couch with a glass of cheap bourbon, his one vice, inherited from his late dad, Dylan scrolled through the footage someone had already uploaded to the school's Facebook group. There he was, small and stunned, as Harlan loomed like a villain from a bad movie. Comments piled up. About time someone stood up. Pray for our kids. A few defenders. Mr. Harper is the best teacher here. Leave him alone. But they were drowned out. By midnight, it hit local news. Local educators award Sparks controversy at Ohio high school. Sleep evaded him, chased away by what-ifs. What if he'd fought back? Yelled? Walked out? But deeper, the fear gnawed. What if this ended his career? Tenure was a pipe dream at Willow Creek. Harlan had made it clear from day one that alternative lifestyles were tolerated only if invisible. Dylan had played the part, khakis and polos, no pride pins, dates kept to Columbus dive bars an hour away. Until now. Dawn broke gray and relentless, coffee bitter on his tongue as he checked his email again. Buried among the hate mail pervert. Go back to the city. Was a subject line that stopped his heart. From the office of Senator Hunter Reyes. Standing with you. Hunter Reyes. The name alone conjured images from C-SPAN clips Dylan had binged during grad school insomnia. The sharp-jawed senator from California, 35 and rising, the first openly gay Latino in the Senate. His speeches on equality weren't fire and brimstone. They were measured, piercing, laced with stories of his own border town youth. Dylan clicked, pulse racing. Mr. Harper, I've seen the video. It's not just an attack on you. It's an assault on every teacher fighting for a classroom where kids can breathe. The NEA flagged your nomination to my office months ago. Your essay on using literature to bridge divides moved me. This principal's bigotry won't stand. I'm flying to Ohio tomorrow. Meet me? Let's turn this tear into a testament. In solidarity, Hunter. Dylan's hands shook as he typed back. Yes. God, yes. For the first time since the rip, hope flickered. Not a flame, but a spark in the dark. The next day blurred into meetings. Harlan's curt summons to the office, where he leaned back in his creaky chair, steepled fingers like a judge. You understand why I had to do it, son. Can't have that agenda seeping in. Dylan bit his tongue, nodding through the HR boilerplate about investigations. Outside, reporters swarmed the lot, microphones thrust like spears. He dodged them, straight to the airport hotel where Hunter's team had booked a suite. Pulling up, Dylan spotted the black SUV first, tinted windows hiding whatever waited inside. He parked, smoothed his shirt, rumpled from a sleepless night, and knocked. The door opened to an aide in a crisp blazer. Senators expecting you. Inside, the room smelled of fresh coffee and resolve. Sunlight slanting through blinds onto a man who looked even more commanding in person. Hunter Reyes stood by the window, phone to ear, his voice a low rumble wrapping up a call to some DC contact. He was taller than Dylan expected, broad-shouldered in a tailored navy suit that screamed West Coast polish, dark hair swept back, eyes the color of aged whiskey, warm but edged with steel. He ended the call, turning with a smile that cut through the tension like sunlight on frost. Dylan Harper, the man who makes poetry out of pain. Dylan swallowed, extending a hand that felt too clammy. Senator, I thank you for this. I didn't expect. Hunter, he corrected gently, grip firm and lingering just a beat. And expect more. We're going live on national news tonight. Harlan's getting a call from the education secretary by noon. He gestured to the couch, pouring coffee as if they were old friends. Tell me everything. Not the headlines, the hurt. And Dylan did. Words spilled like the bourbon from the night before. The lonely halls of his own high school in rural Indiana. The first boy he loved who vanished after a brutal beating. The way teaching became his quiet rebellion. Hunter listened, not interrupting, his gaze steady, drawing out truths Dylan hadn't voiced in years. By the time they broke for the interview crew's arrival, something had shifted. a thread pulled taut between them, invisible but unbreakable. That evening, under the glare of studio lights in a Columbus affiliate's green room, Hunter flanked Dylan like a shield. The anchor, a silver-haired veteran, leaned in with practiced sympathy. "Mr. Harper, how does it feel to have your moment of triumph turn to ashes?" Dylan, bolstered by Hunter's nod, met the camera. "It hurts, but hurts where stories start. And this one's just beginning." The clip went viral, hashtags blooming like wildflowers. Restore the award teacher's pride. By week's end, Harlan had retired amid board pressure, the school board issuing a mealy-mouthed apology. But for Dylan, the real restoration was quieter. Hunter's number in his phone, a late-night text lighting up his screen. "Proud of you today. Dinner when I'm back in DC? Your pick." Dylan stared at the words, heart a drumbeat in the silence. This wasn't just politics. It was possibility. And for a man who'd spent years building walls, that terrified him most of all. Summer settled over Ohio like a heavy quilt, the kind that smothered dreams and amplified doubts. Dylan spent his days in a haze of freelance editing gigs and half-hearted runs along the Scioto River. The water's murmur a poor substitute for the conversations he replayed in his head. Hunter's texts arrived sporadically. Policy briefs from the Hill, a quip about a bad Senate lunch. Each one a breadcrumb leading Dylan deeper into uncharted longing. "Missed your voice in that hearing today," one read after a late-night C-SPAN binge. Dylan typed back jokes, deflections, anything to keep the flirtation light. But alone in his apartment, posters of Whitman and Baldwin staring down like knowing uncles, he admitted the truth. Hunter Reyes wasn't just a savior. He was a storm, and Dylan was already soaked. The invitation to DC came mid-July, tucked into an email about an NEA gala. "Be my +1. Let's celebrate you properly." Dylan booked the flight on impulse, blaming the heat for his feverish pulse. Reagan National buzzed with suited urgency, but Hunter waited at arrivals in jeans and a Henley, incognito behind aviators, a grin splitting his face like dawn. "You made it." No fanfare, just a hug that pressed Dylan's cheek to Hunter's shoulder. Cologne faint and citrus sharp, heartbeat steady under flannel. They drove into the city in Hunter's unmarked sedan, windows down to let the humid air whip through. DC unfolded like a fever dream. Monuments glowing gold in the sunset, traffic a symphony of horns and ambition. "First time?" Hunter asked, glancing over as they crossed the Potomac. "Unless you count a 6th-grade trip to the Smithsonian," Dylan said, forcing levity. "Felt like another planet back then. Still does." Hunter chuckled, low and genuine. "It grows on you, or eats you alive. Depends on the day." He shared snippets of his own ascent. The Chicano kid from El Paso, outed in college by a leaked photo, climbing Senate ranks on sheer grit and Gloria Anzaldúa quotes. "Pride's not a flag," he said, eyes on the road. "It's the fight to wave it anyway." The gala was at the Kennedy Center, chandeliers dripping light over tuxedos and gowns, air thick with perfume and power plays. Dylan tugged at his rented suit, feeling like an imposter amid the glitter. But Hunter navigated it effortlessly, arm brushing Dylan's as they worked the room. Introductions to congresswomen with steel grips, donors with practiced laughs. "This is Dylan Harper," Hunter announced each time, voice proud. "The teacher who reminded us why we do this." By dessert, cheesecake too elegant for Ohio, Dylan's cheeks ached from smiling, but the weight in his chest had lifted. They slipped out early, trading heels for the National Mall's shadowed paths. Fireflies danced erratic over the reflecting pool, Lincoln's silhouette a silent sentinel. Hunter bought them hot dogs from a vendor, the mundanity grounding the magic. "To normal," he toasted, mustard dripping comically. "To surviving," Dylan countered, their knees bumping on the bench. Conversation flowed easy then, barriers eroding with each shared laugh. Hunter confessed the loneliness of the spotlight. Late nights drafting bills alone, the ex who couldn't handle the scrutiny. "I build coalitions, but connections? Rare as a filibuster win." Dylan's turn. The ex-fiancé who'd bailed after a homophobic family dinner, the scar of Harlan's rip still fresh. I thought that award was proof I was enough. Turns out, it's just paper. Hunter's hand found his thumb tracing a knuckle. You're more than enough. You're the reason I keep fighting. The touch lingered, electric in the humid dark, until Hunter pulled back with a rueful smile. Come on, poet. Let's get you to your hotel before I say something reckless. The next morning, over brunch at a Georgetown cafe, Eggs Benedict and black coffee, Hunter pitched the impossible. Join my team. Education policy aide. DC base but flexible. We need your voice in the rooms that matter. Dylan's fork paused midair. Me? In DC? I teach 12th graders, not whatever this is. He gestured vaguely at the passers-by in yoga pants and power heels. You teach change, Hunter pressed, eyes intent. Harlan's stories national now, petitions, op-eds. But you could shape the laws that prevent the next one. Think about it. Dylan did, all flight home. The hum of the plane a backdrop to visions of marble halls and Hunter's laugh echoing off them. Willow Creek welcomed him back with awkward waves from neighbors. A welcome home banner on the school marquee that felt like sarcasm. His inbox overflowed. Job offers from progressive charters. Interview requests from the Atlantic. But it was Hunter's voicemail, gravelly from a red eye. No pressure. Just know the door's open. And mine too that undid him. August brought heat waves and hesitation. Dylan prepped syllabi for fall, but his mind wandered to DC's pulse. A call from his mom tipped the scale, her voice crackling over the line from Indiana. Saw you on the news with that senator fella. Looked happy, baby. Don't let fear clip your wings like it did mine. She'd stayed with Dylan's dad through storms of silence. Dylan wouldn't. Resignation letter drafted. He texted Hunter. I'm in. When do I start? The reply was instant. Now. Pack light. Dinner tonight to celebrate. DC in late summer was a beast. Humidity clinging like regret. Streets alive with interns and ambition. Dylan's sublette was a shoebox in DuPont Circle. Rainbow flags fluttering from brownstones like a promise kept. First day at Hunter's office. A sleek suite overlooking the Capitol. Felt like stepping into a novel. Staffers buzzed with binders and blackberries. Hunter at the helm in rolled sleeves. Tie askew. Harper's here. He announced to the room, pride evident. Our secret weapon. The work was intoxicating. Drafting testimony on inclusive curricula. Lobbying for anti-bullying writers in ed bills. Late nights bled into strategy sessions over takeout tie. Hunter's foot nudging Dylan's under the conference table. A silent Morse code of we're in this. But boundaries blurred. A fundraiser gala found them on a balcony. City lights sprawling below. Hunter's hand on the small of Dylan's back as they dodged small talk. You're brilliant at this, Hunter murmured, breath warm against his ear. But off the clock. What do you want, Dylan? The question hung heavy as the Potomac fog. Dylan turned, close enough to count Hunter's lashes. You. If it's not a liability. Hunter's laugh was soft, disbelieving. Liability? You're the best thing that's happened to me since I won this damn seat. Their lips met then, tentative at first, salt from appetizers, promise in the press. Deepening as the world faded to fireworks over the tidal basin. Fall unfurled in stolen moments. Coffee runs turning to kisses in Senate garages. Weekends at Hunter's Georgetown row house where bookshelves groaned under policy tomes and dog-eared Lorca. Dylan learned Hunter's rhythms, the way he paced during calls, the scar on his jaw from a border protest scuffle. Hunter savored Dylan's quiet fire, the poems he read aloud by lamplight, verses weaving their scars into tapestries. But shadows loomed. Whispers in the halls. Reyes' new boy toy? Distraction or strategy? A tabloid blind item hinted at power couple drama. Dylan brushed it off until Harlan's ghost resurfaced. Not in Ohio but D.C., via a leaked memo from a conservative think tank. Harper's agenda. Indoctrinating the next generation. Reyes complicit. The backlash hit like a squall. Protests outside the office. Emails laced with venom. Hunter shielded him publicly. My partner's work saves lives. But privately, doubt crept in. This could tank the bill, he admitted one night, head in hands over cooling pad thai. Education reforms my legacy. I can't. Dylan corrected, fierce. Our fight. But the seed of fracture took root. Betrayal's first whisper in the wind. November's chill seeped into DC's bones, frosting the cherry blossom's skeletal branches and hardening the fault lines in Dylan's resolve. The education bill, Hunter's magnum opus, a $500 billion behemoth blending equity grants with anti-discrimination mandates, barreled toward markup, a locomotive of hope and horse trading. Dylan thrived in its drafting, his amendments on LGBTQ plus literacy programs earning nods from wary moderates. But the leaks persisted, anonymous sources painting him as the radical whisperer, derailing bipartisanship. It's not you, Hunter insisted during a midnight strategy huddle, his office aglow with laptop screens. It's election year fear-mongering. Dylan nodded, but the words rang hollow. Late one evening, scrolling opposition research in the sublet, he uncovered the source. A junior staffer on Hunter's team, Elena Vargas, a sharp-eyed protege from Hunter's El Paso days. Her emails to a Heritage Foundation contact were damning. Harper's influence is toxic. Advise pulling support. Betrayal tasted like rust on Dylan's tongue. Elena, who'd shared margaritas and war stories at team happy hours, who'd called him family. Confrontation came at dawn in the office kitchenette, coffee pot gurgling like a guilty conscience. Elena froze, mug halfway to her lips, as Dylan slid printouts across the formica. Family doesn't knife in the back. Her face crumpled, defiance warring with shame. It's politics, Dylan. Hunter's rising presidential buzz. Even. You think the party wants a liability? I did it for him. For him? Dylan echoed, voice cracking. Or for your climb? She fled without answer, heels clicking recriminations down the hall. Hunter arrived an hour later, tie knotted loose, eyes shadowed from a red eye from California. Dylan laid it out raw, no accusations, just facts, the printouts a paper trail of fractured trust. Hunter's jaw tightened, color draining as he scanned the betrayal. Jesus, L. She was like a sister. He sank into a chair, rubbing temples. I'll fire her. Today. Don't, Dylan said, surprising himself. Exile her to a field office. Make it a lesson. Mercy over malice. That was the humanistic core he'd clung to since Harlan's rip. But as Hunter nodded, gratitude mingling with guilt, Dylan saw the chasm. Elena's motive wasn't baseless. Their relationship was a risk, a tabloid tinderbox in an election cycle where Hunter's star burned brightest. The firing, no, the reassignment, rippled through the team like a stone in still water. Morale dipped, whispers of favoritism souring the air. Dylan threw himself into the bill, co-authoring op-eds with Hunter for the Washington Post. From classroom crucifixion to capital redemption, the pieces humanized their story. Dylan's shredded award juxtaposed with Hunter's border town coming out, a narrative of resilience over rupture. Readership soared, allies mobilized. GLAAD spotlights, union rallies in Ohio echoing Dylan's name. Yet intimacy frayed. Dates became briefer. Hunter's phone a constant siren pulling him away. Just the whip count, he'd murmur, kissing Dylan's temple before vanishing into calls. Dylan filled voids with runs along the mall, Lincoln's gaze a stoic companion. One foggy morning, pounding pavement past the World War II memorial, he collided literally with a jogger in fatigues. A Marine, mid-20s, all buzz cut and easy grin. Whoa, easy there, poet? The guy said, steadying Dylan with calloused hands. You run like you're fleeing something. Or toward, Dylan replied, breathless. His name was Alex, a Hill staffer on leave, home from deployment. They fell into step, talk light, bad DC traffic, the absurdity of power-walking senators. Alex's laugh was uncomplicated, a balm to Dylan's raw edges. No stakes, no spotlights, just two guys sweating out the dawn. It became routine. Tuesdays and Thursdays, memorial to Tidal Basin, coffee after at a hole-in-the-wall where vets swapped stories. Alex never pried about Hunter, but his silences invited confession. Love and politics, He mused one crisp day, steam rising from their cups. Like sand in a rifle, grains of truth grinding everything down. Dylan opened up then, the Elena wound still suppurating, the fear that he was Hunter's Achilles heel. Alex listened, no judgment, his hand brushing Dylan's in solidarity. You're not a heel. You're the heart. Guilt gnawed, but so did isolation. Hunter noticed the distance, attributing it to Bill's stress. You're pulling away, he said over a rare dinner at Rasica, curry scents masking the tension. Talk to me. Dylan deflected. Just tired. The fight's wearing thin. But truth bubbled under Elena's echo, the press clippings framing him as Reyes' controversial consort. Hunter reached across the table, fingers lacing. We're stronger together. Remember Ohio? You stood tall. I just held the mic. The bill passed committee that week. A razor-thin victory. Champagne corks popping in the office till midnight. Dylan toasted with the team, Hunter's arm around his waist proprietary and warm. But as confetti settled, an aide pulled Hunter aside. CNN wants a statement. And there's a photo leak. You two outside the gala. Grainy. But it's you. The image hit wires by morning. Blurry shot of their balcony kiss, captioned Senator's steamy sideline. Pundits pounced. Fox decrying moral decay. MSNBC spinning power love. Hunter's pollster called it manageable noise. But Dylan's gut twisted. He fielded calls from Ohio. Old colleagues whispering support. His mom fretting over those vultures. Alex texted, saw the pic. You okay? Coffee? Dylan deleted it unread. Loyalty, he told himself, pounding out another run. But the chafing doubt persisted. Was he Hunter's pride, or his undoing? Climax brewed in December. Snow dusting the Capitol like ash from a funeral pyre. The full Senate vote loomed, horse trading feverish. Hunter brokered deals in smoke-filled rooms. Literally, a cigar-choked backroom where Dylan waited outside, eavesdropping on fragments. Drop the inclusivity clause, or no GOP votes. His clause, the one mandating anti-bias training, born from Harlan's hate. That night, in Hunter's row house, fire crackling in the grate, Dylan confronted it head-on. Curled on the rug with Merlot and maps of amendments, he traced Hunter's jaw. If it comes to choosing the bill or me, promise you'll pick the fight that matters. Hunter's eyes darkened, hand cupping Dylan's. You are the fight, but this bill is for every kid like us. I can't gut it. Even if it guts us? The words hung, fragile as snowflakes. Hunter pulled him close, lips fervent against his temple. We'll rewrite the ending. But endings, Dylan knew from his poets, rarely bent to will. The vote day dawned bitter, gallery packed with advocates, NEA reps, queer youth groups clutching signs. Pride in policy. Dylan watched from Hunter's office feed, heart in throat as the clerk intoned yeas and nays. His clause survived, barely 51-49, Hunter's tiebreaker the gavel's echo. Elation erupted downstairs, hugs and high-fives. Hunter burst in, scooping Dylan into a spin. We did it. But triumph soured swift. A knock, then Elena. Reassigned but unrepentant. Slipping Hunter a folder. Final whip count. Your +1 amendment cost 3 defectors. Leaks say it's on you. Hunter's face shuddered, scanning pages. Dylan glimpsed highlighted names. GOP holdouts citing cultural overreach. It nearly tanked everything. Nearly, Dylan echoed voice steel. But it passed. Because it's right. Hunter set the folder down, slow, eyes conflicted. Right costs, Dylan. My career. Our future. Future. Laughter escaped. Brittle. You mean the one where I'm the footnote? The argument ignited then, words like embers flaring. Hunter defending pragmatism, Dylan accusing erasure. I didn't cross states for half measures. You promised restoration, not compromise. Hunter's voice broke. I love you, but love doesn't legislate. Dylan grabbed his coat, door slamming on the wreckage. Snow swirled outside, blurring the world to white. He walked blocks, miles, till his phone buzzed. Alex. Heard about the vote. Drinks? Neutral ground. At the dive bar, neon humming, no vacancy. Alex enveloped him in a hug that smelled of pine and possibility. You look like hell. Beers arrived, foam sloshing as Dylan unloaded. The Bills' Pyrrhic win, Hunter's waver. Alex's hand covered his, steady. Sometimes you gotta choose the battle that chooses you back. By last call, lips met in the alley, desperate, defiant. Guilt crashed after, but so did clarity. Hunter's love was a crown, heavy with thorns. Dylan's? It needed air. January's inauguration gale howled through D.C., winds whipping confetti from the Capitol steps into harbingers of upheaval. Dylan woke in his sublet to frost-laced windows and a text from Hunter. We need to talk. My place, noon? The ellipsis loomed like an accusation. He'd crashed at Alex's after the bar. A chaste night on the couch trading deployment tales and Tennyson till dawn. Alex's simplicity, no agendas, just us, had been a salve, but guilt etched lines in Dylan's reflection as he shaved. Hunter's row house smelled of cinnamon scones and regret. The fire banked low. He greeted Dylan at the door in sweats, stubble shadowing his jaw, vulnerability cracking the senator's polish. You didn't come home last night. Not a question. Dylan crossed arms, threshold unbreached. Home? Or headquarters? The jab landed, Hunter wincing. Inside. Please. They settled in the study, bookshelves a fortress of tomes on civil rights and compromise. Hunter poured tea, chamomile, Dylan's favorite, hands unsteady. Last night. Panicked. The folder, Elena's ghost. But losing you? That's the real cost. Dylan's throat tightened. You chose the bill over the clause, over me. How do I trust that won't happen again? Hunter leaned forward, eyes pleading. It was strategy, not sacrifice. We won, Dylan. Your voice carried it. He recounted the post-vote frenzy. Swing state calls praising the inclusivity, donors doubling down. You're not a footnote. You're the spine. Words wove reconciliation. Apologies layered like phyllo, promises of boundaries, date nights sans blackberries, joint therapy with a queer counselor. Dylan softened, drawn to Hunter's heat, their kiss sealing tentative peace. But as he left for a NEA briefing, Alex's text pinged. Missed you this morning. Run tomorrow? He silenced it, but the echo lingered. The affair, if that's what it was, unspooled in stolen slivers. Alex became Dylan's daylight escape. Dawn jogs devolving into brunches where hands lingered under tables. Evenings at indie films where shoulders brushed in the dark. This is crazy, Dylan confessed one sleety afternoon in a foggy bottom cafe. Rain sheeting the windows. Hunters. Everything. Alex's smile was wistful, stirring sugar slow. Everything's a cage if it's locked. I'm just the key you didn't know you had. No pressure, no pleas, just presence. A mirror to the freedom Dylan craved. Their first real night unfolded in Alex's Adams Morgan walk-up. Takeout falafel, a playlist of Springsteen and Selena. Bodies aligning tentative on thrift store sheets. It wasn't passion's blaze, but embers, gentle, affirming, a reclamation of touch without transaction. Guilt metastasized. Dylan buried it in work, expanding the NEA's advocacy arm, guest lectures at Georgetown on queer pedagogy. Hunter, buoyed by the bill's signing. POTUS's pen flanked by kids from Willow Creek. Lavished attention. A weekend in Rehoboth, boardwalks and beach reads, whispers of marry me against ocean roar. After midterms, he vowed, ringless finger tracing Dylan's. When the noise dies, but noise amplified. February brought Elena's Revenge, a tell-all podcast. From the inside, betrayal in the Beltway. Her voice modulated but venom clear. Rhea's lover wasn't just a teacher. He was a Trojan horse for radicalism. I saw the damage up close. Clips dissected their relationship. Gala photos, bill amendments flagged as Harper's fingerprints. Pundits feasted, The View sympathetic, Tucker tonight a circus. Hunter weathered it in hearings, deflection his sword. Personal attacks distract from progress. But privately, paranoia crept. Encrypted emails, aides vetted anew. Dylan felt the shift. Hunter's touches possessive. Questions edged. Who were you with last Tuesday? That policy mixer ran late. Trust, fragile as spring ice, cracked. The breaking point shattered in March, cherry blossoms mocking with pink perfection. Dylan returned from a Columbus-speaking gig, empowering queer educators, Harlan's shadow banished, to find Hunter's team in crisis mode. A whistleblower email anonymous, Harper's cheating. Photos attached. Grainy shots. Dylan and Alex, Alley kiss postbar, time-stamped that December night. Hunter waited in the study, tablet glowing with evidence, face ashen. Tell me it's not true. Voice hollow, not accusatory, devastated. Dylan's knees buckled onto the rug. It was one night, a mistake. After our fight, I was lost. Lies by omission tumbled. Alex's steadiness, the pull of simplicity. But truth gutted. I needed to feel wanted without the weight. Hunter's laugh was wreckage. Wait, that's the world we chose. Together. He stood, pacing to the window, DC's dome a distant judgment. I rebuilt you from that stage in Ohio, fought for us. And this, betrayal reversed, roles inverted. Dylan the confessor, Hunter the betrayed. I love you, Dylan pleaded, grasping Hunter's hand. Alex was escape, not replacement. Escape, Hunter echoed, wrenching free. From me, from us. Silence stretched, broken by his exhale. I need space, to think, to grieve. Dylan left in the downpour, cab splashing to Alex's. No preamble. He collapsed into waiting arms, sobs racking as the affair's architect became confessor. It's over. He knows. Alex held him through the night. No, I told you so. Just quiet. You're enough. Always were. Spring thawed into recriminations. Dylan moved out. Sublet surrendered. A neutral Airbnb in Shaw. Packing boxes a requiem for shared dreams. Hunter's texts evolved. Fury to frost to faint olive branches. Bill's implementation hearing next week. Your input, professional, pointedly so. Dylan complied, voice steady in Zoom calls, but eyes averted from Hunter's gaze. Alex anchored the drift. Picnics in Rock Creek Park, where dogwood petals carpeted confessions. No more hiding, he said one golden afternoon, lacing fingers. If you want this, us, let's build it open. Dylan nodded, heart bifurcated. Love for Alex's ease warring with ache for Hunter's fire. Midterms loomed, Hunter's re-election a crucible. Polls dipped, scandals aftershocks. But he rallied town halls and swing districts, ads touting the Ed Bills wins. Dylan's face blurred in testimonials. Dylan watched from afar, pride tangled with pain. A late-night call pierced the divide. Hunter, voice slurred from scotch. Miss you. The house echoes. Elena's suit dropped. Slander. But it hurts. Dylan softened, old instincts surging. Fight it. Like you fought for me. Pause, then. I still would. Hunter's breath hitched. Come back? We can fix. No. Gentle, final. I broke us. But I'm finding me. Summer solstice brought bifurcation's bloom. Dylan accepted a fellowship at American University. Queer lit seminar, tenure track whispers. Alex proposed cohabitation over rooftop barbecue. Rings optional but commitment ironclad. Partners, he said, grill smoke curling like vows. Yet July's heat wave dredged ghosts. A Willow Creek reunion invite. Alumni panel on resilience. Dylan flew solo. Ohio's flatlands a time machine. The auditorium. Same stage. Banners refreshed. Hummed with faces. His old students, now grads, eyes bright with thanks. You showed us it's okay to be us, one said, mic trembling. Harlan lurked in the wings, retired but unbowed, cornered by reporters. Dylan faced him post-panel, no cameras. You tore my paper, but not my pride. Harlan's bluster faltered, mumbling times change. Back in D.C., Hunter's campaign surged, victory projected 60-40. A gala invite arrived, as my friend. Celebrate with me? Dylan went, Alex at his side, hand in Hunter's for the obligatory photo. Eyes met across the ballroom, a lifetime in the lock. Gratitude, grief, goodbye. Autumn's palette painted DC in fire, leaves scorching from green to crimson, mirroring the slow burn of Dylan's reinvention. The fellowship launched with a splash. His syllabus, Narratives of the Marginalized Self, drew overflow enrollment, students clustering post-class with dog-eared Audre Lorde. Alex integrated seamless. Mornings brewing coffee strong as his resolve, evenings debating policy over homemade pozole, his marine tales a counterpoint to Dylan's verse. Cohabitation settled like dust motes in sunlight, comfortable, not consuming. We're good, Alex would say, kissing Dylan's temple. No drama required. Hunter's re-election night unfolded under crystal chandeliers at the Willard, balloons bobbing like triumphant buoys. Dylan and Alex arrived fashionably late. Dylan's tweed blazer a nod to academia, Alex's dress blues starched sharp. The crowd parted for Hunter, charisma incarnate, concession calls silenced by landslide margins. He spotted them across the sea of signs, weaving through with champagne flutes. You came. To Dylan, then a nod to Alex. Captain, heard about your promotion. Well deserved. Alex's grip was firm, smile genuine. Congrats, Senator. Ohio owes you. No undercurrents, just men measuring moments. Hunter pulled Dylan aside amid the roar. Balcony overlooking Pennsylvania Avenue. Fireworks prelude to his speech. You look settled. Envy flickered, masked quick. Happy for you. Dylan's chest ached, old fault lines twinging. You too. The win. It's huge. Pause. Then, proud of you. Always. Hunter's hand ghosted his arm. Gone before it landed. Write me into your next chapter? Not as villain. Laughter, bittersweet. The speech that followed was vintage Hunter. Soaring rhetoric on unity, clips of Willow Creek kids crediting the bill for safe spaces. Dylan's claws, intact, wove through mandated empathy, he called it. Back home. Alex uncorked beer. He's magnetic, but you're the gravity. Winter whispered warnings. Elena's suit dragged into depositions, her lawyers subpoenaing Dylan. Witness to workplace sabotage. He testified crisp, truth as scalpel, carving out her fabrications. Hunter's team cross-examined gentle, but the strain showed. His eyes hollowed, calls to Dylan sparse but sincere. Thanks for the clarity. Miss our talks. Alex sensed the pull, patient but pointed. One snow-dusted night, bundled on the couch with Brokeback Mountain flickering. Ironic echo. He voiced it. Hunter's orbit. You're circling back. Dylan paused the film, Jack Twist's ghost lingering. Not orbiting. Honoring. He confessed the what-ifs. Hunter's passion a forge, Alex's a hearth. I love you steady, true. But he was the spark that lit me. Alex's jaw set, but eyes softened. Love's not zero-sum, but loyalty is. No ultimatum, just truth, a mirror Dylan had dodged. Spring's thaw unearthed buried roots. A package arrived at the university. Hunter's handwriting on the label, contents spilling like confessions. A first edition, The Fire Next Time. Inscribed, for the teacher who taught me to burn brighter. H. Tucked inside, a letter. Pages of reflection on their fracture. Elena's fall. Settlement pending. Her career cratered. His own therapy revelations. I compromised us to save the bill, but lost the soul of it. You were right. Pride isn't paper or policy. It's presence. Dylan read it in his office. Blinds drawn. Tears salting the ink. Alex found him there after lecture, concern etching his brow. The package. Dylan handed it over, wordless. Alex scanned, expression shifting from curiosity to quiet resolve. Go see him. Alex. Go. Firm, freeing. If it's unfinished, finish it. I won't be the rebound. Mid-April, under dogwoods in full riot, Dylan knocked on Hunter's door. The senator answered in jeans and a faded Chicano studies tee, surprise blooming to welcome. You came. No questions, just space. The kitchen island laden with takeout tamales, conversation unfurling like forgotten lyrics. They talked till twilight bled to stars. Hunter's post-win wanderlust, volunteer stints in immigrant clinics, whispers of 2028 runs tempered by burnout. Dylan's semester triumphs, Alex's steady anchor. "He's good for you," Hunter said, no bitterness. "Real. As you were," Dylan replied. "Are." The kiss ignited slow, inevitable. Fire meeting flint after embers banked. No rush, no reclamation. Just reconnection. Bodies mapping familiar terrains with new tenderness. They tumbled to the rug, clothes shedding like winter skins. But it was intimacy's depth, not desire's dash. Whispers of sorry and still, hands tracing scars. Hunter's jaw, Dylan's heart. Morning brought clarity over coffee, mugs steaming between them. "No secrets this time," Hunter vowed. "If we try, it's all in." Dylan nodded, but caution tempered hope. "And Alex, honor him, tell him straight." The conversation with Alex unfolded in Rock Creek, path muddied by melt, birdsong a gentle judge. "Hunter," Dylan started, words tumbling. Alex halted, back to a oak, face impassive. "Figured. No anger, just ache. You too, it's epic. I'm the interlude." "Never," Dylan protested, grasping wrists. "You saved me, gave me ground." Alex pulled free, gentle, smile crooked. "Ground to launch from. Go be epic. Hug fierce, final, brothers in loss, not lovers in limbo." Summer solstice circled back, DC's humidity a hothouse for rebirth. Dylan moved into Hunter's row house piecemeal. Books first, then clothes, Alex's marine mug a peace offering on the shelf. Their rhythm rekindled with intention, therapy Tuesdays, no phone Fridays, weekends escaping to Shenandoah where hikes healed old hikes. But humanism's arc bends slow. Elena's suit resolved in July, dismissed with prejudice, her apology letter a footnote in Hunter's files. Dylan penned his own closure, a post-essay, from torn paper to mended hearts, weaving betrayal's threads into tapestries of growth. Pride restored isn't solitary. It's shared, scarred, sustained. Fall semester beckoned, Dylan's class swelling with transfers inspired by the piece. Hunter guest lectured one crisp day, suit swapped for sweater, voice weaving policy with poetry. Q&A turned personal. A student, wide-eyed queer kid from Ohio, asked, "How do you forgive the rips?" Hunter glanced at Dylan, hand brushing under the desk. "You don't. You rewrite." Winter's Eve brought full circle. NEA Gala Redux, Kennedy Center aglow. Dylan and Hunter entered arm in arm. No plus ones but partners. The rooms gaze a mix of curiosity and cheers. Harlan's successor from Willow Creek presented a restored award, framed facsimile, gold leaf intact. For the teacher who tore down walls. Dylan accepted, voice steady. Pride's not given, it's claimed. Hunter's eyes shone, unspoken vow. Yet under the chandeliers, as strings swelled, Dylan felt the story's undercurrent. Redemption's not endpoint, but ever unfolding. Alex's Christmas card arrived weeks later, happy trails, poet. Found my own epic. Dylan framed it beside the award, a triad of truths. The new year dawned crystalline, DC's dome capped in frost like a crown reclaimed. Dylan and Hunter's life wove into a tapestry of tempered bliss. Mornings tangled in Hunter's sheets, policy debates over breakfast burritos, evenings where Hunter read Dylan's drafts aloud, voice gravelly with approval. "You're dangerous," he'd tease, nuzzling Dylan's neck, making senators poetic. No grand proposals yet, Hunter's 2028 whispers demanded focus, but quiet commitments sufficed. Joint leases, merged calendars, a shared rescue pup named Echo, yipping at squirrels in Lafayette Square. Challenges persisted, humanism's price. A February blizzard stranded them in the row house, power flickering as Hunter fielded crisis calls. Ed funding freezes in red states, Harlan-esque holdouts resurrecting ghosts. Dylan drafted counter-narratives by candlelight, laptop battery waning. Their collaboration a bulwark against isolation. "We're the storm now," Dylan quipped, echo curled between. Hunter's laugh rumbled. "And the shelter." Spring's bloom carried barbs. Alex's wedding invite arrived in April to a fellow captain, Key West, May. Dylan attended solo, Hunter campaigning in Cali. The beach ceremony a poignant echo. Vows exchanged under palms, Alex's grin unshadowed. Knew you'd make it. Alex hugged post-ceremony, salt air mingling with champagne. Tell Ray is high. From the guy who got you halfway home. Dylan related over FaceTime, Hunter's hotel room backdrop a blur of palm trees. He's class, Hunter said, eyes soft. We all are, thanks to you. Summer's heat forged deeper bonds. A joint trip to El Paso, Hunter's roots, Dylan's first border brush, unraveled family threads. Hunter's abuelita, sharp as mesquite, sized Dylan up over enchiladas. You make him fight fair? Dylan nodded, earning a nod and extra salsa. They volunteered at a migrant lit program, Dylan teaching Baldwin to wide-eyed teens, Hunter translating policy into hope. One boy, 16 and closeted, slipped Dylan a note. Your story gave me words. Gracias. Echoes of Willow Creek, pride propagated. Fall elections loomed, Hunter's national profile swelling. VP shortlists murmured, fundraisers packed with star power. Dylan balanced it with tenure push, publications piling, a book deal for ripped pages. Queer Voices in American Ed launch party at Politics and Prose drew crowds. Alex and spouse toasting from the back. Elena a distant footnote, her podcast tanked, pivot to consulting. Hunter keynote, arm around Dylan. This man's not just my partner. He's the pen behind the laws. Winter's solstice gala circled the wheel. Kennedy Center redux, but evolved. Dylan accepted a Lifetime Achievement nod from NEA. Stage lights warm. Hunter in front row beaming. Speech scripted from heart. 3 years ago, a principal tore my pride to shreds. Tonight it's mended. Not by one man, but many. Students who saw me, senators who stood, lovers who lifted. Applause thundered, Hunter's whoop piercing. After-party spilled to the mall, snow-dusting monuments like benedictions. They walked arm-embraced, echo-leashed, breaths fogging stars. Marry me? Hunter asked, casual as asking for coffee, but ring box in pocket, simple gold, engraved restored. Dylan's yes was whisper, kiss ceiling. Yes, for the rewrite. Yet the story's humanism-tempered triumph. News broke next dawn. Harlan, felled by stroke, bedbound in Ohio. Dylan visited unbidden. Flight booked on instinct. Finding the old man frail, monitors beeping recantations. Saw you on TV. Harlan rasped, eyes watery. Did right by those kids. Sorry. For the rip. Dylan clasped the gnarled hand. Forgiveness a quiet tide. We both did. In the end. No absolution parade, just grace, unearned and earned. Back in D.C., wedding plans unfolded understated. June ceremony in Shenandoah. Vows under oaks. Guests a mosaic. Willow Creek alums. Senate allies. Alex toasting to epic detours. Echo wore a bow tie. Hunter's abuelita danced a cumbia. Dylan's mom teared up over cake. My boy's pride whole. Years blurred into legacy. Hunter's 2032 run crested the wave, VP slot secured. Then Oval whispers. Dylan chaired ed reform, book a staple in queer studies. Echo aged to silver muzzle. Chases slowing but loyalties fierce. On their 10th anniversary, row house balcony, DC skyline a canvas of conquests. Hunter raised a toast. To the tear that started it all. Dylan clinked glasses, eyes on horizon. And the hands that mended. In the end, pride wasn't restored by leader or law, but by the human weave. Betrayals bridged, loves layered, stories shared. A ripped award, once confetti of defeat, became seed of a garden, wild, resilient, American to its verdant core.